Hola, ¿qué tal todos? Aquí estamos con Sentence Starters Lesson 112. Commands, stem changing E to I verbs. These will be our last stem changing verbs. Trust me on this one, okay? All right, our same key points. There are two familiar commands, a positive and negative. Those are the two red columns that you see. On the far left is the positive to command. The second one is the negative to command. Point two, there are two formal commands, usted and ustedes, and to make them negative, we just put the word no in front of them. So we have four commands that we have to worry about in terms of spelling and conjugating and what have you. And let's take a look at our verbs. They're all IR verbs, aren't they? Every single one of them. Pedir, servir, competir, seguir, conseguir, vestirse, despedirse, reírse, sonreírse, rendirse. And again, so much of this stuff, you think, oh my golly, am I ever going to learn it? Yes. And you're going to learn it because you're going to use it a lot. You're going to hear it a lot. You're going to be engaged. I'm going to give you some tips on how to understand it and figure it out on your own and create it. But the more you use it, the more you hear it, the more you're exposed to it, you're going to learn it the natural way by imitation and creation. Okay, now, first of all, we have all IR verbs. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the positive familiar command is always regular vowel, so they're all going to end in the letter E. And it tells us that all the other commands, the three other commands, the negative familiar, the negative to command, is going to end in opposite vowel S. And then the usted and ustedes commands are going to end in opposite vowel and opposite vowel A, or opposite vowel AN. Let's take a look at the infinitives. To ask for something is pedir, to serve is servir, to compete, competir, to continue, seguir, to get, conseguir, to get dressed, vestirse, to say goodbye, despedirse, to laugh, reírse, to smile, sonreírse, and to surrender or give up, rendirse. The last five verbs are reflexive, so we have to deal with the reflexive pronoun. Now, it says these are stem changing E to I verbs. So that means that the E in the middle of these verbs is going to change to I when we do our commands. Every single command is going to have a change in it, E to I. So we know that all these commands will have the E changing to I, and the positive to command will be the regular vowel ending in E. So pedir, if you want to say ask for something, would be pide. Serve would be sirve. Compete, compite. Seguir, sigue. To get, consigue. To get dressed, it's viste. Throw the te on the end, count back three, put your accent mark. Vistete, get dressed. Despídete, it's despide. Throw the te on the end, the reflexive pronoun for the you, to form, right? Despídete, go back three vowels and put your accent in. Reírse, to laugh. It's going to be rie. Put the te on the end, go back three vowels and put your accent mark. Ríete. Now to smile, sonríete. Same thing. Put the te on the end, go back three vowels and put your accent mark. Ríndete, surrender. So all of these, the E changes to the I, and they all end in E because it is a positive familiar command, regular vowel. So the stem changing E to I, again, that E in the infinitive is going to change to I, and then the regular vowel ending will be E on the end of them all. Now let's turn them into the negative familiar command. We know the negative familiar command always ends in opposite vowel S. So the opposite vowel for IR verbs and ER verbs is the letter A. So all these negative to commands are going to end in AS. And we put a no in front. So let's take pide. So you got no. Take pide, swap out the E for AS. No pidas, don't ask for. Okay, the next one, take sirve, put a no in front, swap out the E for AS. No sirvas, don't serve. Then it's no compitas, don't compete. No sigas, don't continue. We don't need the U there because the U makes the G hard. Sigue, gay, g. When the G is followed by an I or an E, it's soft like he or hey. That's why they put the U in to maintain the sound of seguir, g, sigue. However, in no sigas, the A after the G makes the G a hard G sound. So no sigas, don't continue. Don't get, no consigas, right? You take no, take consigue, Get rid of the E and put opposite vowel AS, and you don't need the U. No consigas. Don't get dressed would be no te vistas. Remember, all the negative 2 commands are going to end in opposite vowel, which is A plus S. No te vistas, don't get dressed. Don't say goodbye, no te despidas, no te despidas. Don't laugh, no te rías, no te rías. It ends in AS. Don't smile, no te sonrías, no te sonrías. Don't smile. And the last one, don't surrender, don't give up. No te rindas. So all these negative 2 commands, the E changes to I, we see that, and they end in opposite vowel, which is AS. Piece of cake. Now the usted and ustedes command are going to have the E changing to I as well, and they're going to end in opposite vowel. So the usted command is going to end in A all the way through, and the ustedes command is going to end in opposite vowel AN. Okay? And of course, if you have a reflexive command for usted or ustedes, the pronoun we have to deal with is se. If it's a positive command, it's going to go on the very end, and we're going to count back 3 vowels and put an accent mark. If it's a negative command, you would put the se after the no in front of the command. All right, so let's go for the usted and ustedes commands. We know these are opposite vowel. Pedir, you're going to ask an usted person to ask for something, like ask for water, pida agua, P-I-D-A. Okay? Serve, sirva, S-I-R-V-A. Compete, compita. Continue, siga. Get, consiga. Get dressed, vístase. Say goodbye, despídase. Laugh, ríase. Smile, sonríase. And surrender, ríndase. Okay, all of these have the E changing to I. That's our stem change. And they all end in the opposite vowel for ER and IR verbs, which is in A. Now, to do the ustedes command, all you have to do is take the usted command and add an end. So pida becomes pidan, sirva, sirvan, compita, compitan, siga, sigan, consiga, consigan, vístase, insert the N in front of the SE, vístanse, despídanse, ríanse, sonríanse, and ríndanse. So there are the commands that are E to I verbs. The E to I changes in all 4 commands, and the negative familiar in the usted, ustedes commands, the last 3 always are opposite vowel. Opposite vowel for AR verbs is E. Opposite vowel for ER and IR verbs is A. You know that now. You've heard it a million times. That's why you're learning it. Not so much by studying, but by practicing and going over. Repetition is the mother of learning. You don't learn to swim in a swimming pool by studying the dimensions of the pool in the water chemistry. You learn by getting in and swimming. Okay? That's what we're doing here. We're not studying the dimensions in the water chemistry. We're jumping in the pool and we're learning how to swim. All right, let's look at our examples and see if they make sense. All right, we're going to say surrender to a group of people. Well, the group command always ends in N, but we know rendirse, to surrender, is a reflexive verb. So it's a positive command. So we know the say is going to go on the end, and we're probably going to have an accent mark backed up 3 vowels. Let's see what we got. It's going to be opposite vowel, N, so it's going to end in A-N-S-E. Let's see what we got. Ríndanse, we got it. There's the accent mark. Don't surrender to a friend, okay? Well, we got to have the E to I. We know all these are going to have the E to I stem change. We're going to have a no in front. The pronoun for you too is te, so it's going to start off no te. Now that leaves us with rendir, okay? Negative 2 command is always opposite vowel S, so that would be AS. So it should be no te rindas. Yep, that's what we got. To a group, smile, okay? It's a reflexive verb, so the reflexive pronoun for ustedes is se. So we know this is going to end in se, and we're probably going to back up 3 vowels with an accent mark. We know there's an E to I stem change. We also know that it's a group command, so it's opposite vowel N. So that would be A-N. Let's see what we got. It should be sonríanse. Yep, that's it. Sonríanse. Get me one. To a friend. With the verb conseguir, okay? We're not going reflexive, but we're using the pronoun may. So it's a positive command to a friend. So that's a regular vowel. That's going to have an E. We know that the E to I stem change is going to happen in the beginning somewhere. We know that me is may, and that's going to be on the end. So we know we're probably going to have to go back 3 vowels and put an accent mark. Let's take a look and see what we got. This one will be somewhat interesting for one reason. So we've got con, si, the SI, consigue may. We've got the regular vowel, the E, and we got may. But now we go back 1, 2, 3 vowels. Let me explain. Easy. The UE, the U and the E together is a diphthong. It's one gliding sound, so it counts as one vowel. And we have to have a U after the G to get that hard G sound. Consigue me. Remember, in a G in front of an I or an E is pronounced he or hey. But we need the gay sound, so that's why the U is inserted. As soon as you insert the U, that U, E together, 2 vowels together making one sound is what we call a diphthong. So, in our formula, when you add a pronoun to the end of a command, you go back 3 and put an accent mark. Well, that's exactly what we're doing. The E of may is 1. The UE, the diphthong, the gliding sound, constitutes the second vowel, 2 vowels counting as 1. And so the I would be the third vowel back. So that's consígueme uno. Beautiful. To your kid, get dressed. Hey, there's a reason for everything. Accent marks aren't like manna falling out of the heaven like snowflakes and just landing where they may. There is a reason for everything. And we will give you every single reason that you ever need to know. I'm telling you, you're going to get it right here. Profesor Pablo, Spanish Learning Systems. All right, to your kid. All right, as soon as you're talking to your kid, you know that's the to familiar command. That's the first one in the column. It says get dressed for school. We know we got an EI stem change in the beginning. We know it's going to be a regular vowel ending, so it's going to have E. And since you're talking to a kid and it is reflexive, you're going to use the te pronoun. So we're going to have te on the end. We're going to have an EI stem change at the beginning of the verb somewhere. And then we're going to have the regular vowel ending of E. So let's see what we got. Vístete. Go back 3, put an accent. Yep, that's what it is. Vístete para la escuela. Get dressed for school. Now kids, when they learn all these commands, okay, they don't have the benefit of learning all these tips ahead of time. They just hear it a million times, and then the brain takes over. The brain has a built-in language learning acquisition module, and it works for everybody. Everybody, it doesn't make any difference what your IQ is. Everybody speaks a native language and usually speaks it very, very well. So we have that natural language acquisition module in the brain already. And what we're doing is when we give it little tips, this and that, we're making it work even better. We're enhancing what we have. Okay? All right. So let's go. Like kids, they'll hear commands like sonríense, sonríete. They'll hear it a gazillion times over the first 3, 4, 5 years of their life, and then it's ingrained. You don't have 3, 4, 5 years, okay? You want to get on this right now, like andale, okay? All right, here we go. Get me one to a friend. We already did that. Let's go down to ask him or her a favor. It's familiar. Okay, so it's a positive to command, so it's regular vowel. That means it's going to have an E in it, okay? We know we have the E to I stem change in the beginning, and we got a pronoun, him or her, which is going to be, in this case, lay, and that's got to go on the end. So we're going to have an accent mark, we're going to have an E to I, we're going to have a regular vowel. So we should have pedir. So it should be pídele un favor. There it is with an accent mark. Pídele un favor. Don't laugh to a friend, okay? Well, this is a negative to command, so it's going to end in opposite vowel, S. So that would be AS. It's going to start with no. And what is the reflexive pronoun for you? It's te, so it's going to start off no te. Now we've got the verb reírse, reír. So it's going to be R-I, and then we're going to put the ending A-S, no te rías, accent mark on the I. Now that accent mark is not for an object pronoun going on the end because there is no pronoun. We're going to find out that when I and A are together, if you want them to sound like 2 different sounds and not glide together and make one sound, then you have to put an accent mark over the I so that it gets 2 different sounds. Rias, rias, ias. that E breaks up the diphthong. So it breaks up the gliding sound of two vowels making one sound, and now it makes it two vowels making two sounds. But we'll get that. It's coming. All right, continue or go on. Continue to an usted person. All right, that's going to be opposite vowel, so it's got to end in A. We got an E to I stem change, and we got that G and the U thing to work on again. So we got, it should be Siga, S-I-G-A. Yep. How come there's no U here? Remember, when G is followed by O, U, or A, it's the hard G sound. Go, gu, ga. But if the I or the E comes after the G, it's pronounced he or he. So siga is what we want. Don't ask favors to your kid. Well, it's a negative 2 command, so it's going to be opposite vowel S. So it's going to end in AS, and we got the E to I stem changer. So there is no pronoun here. So it would be no pidas favores. That's it. You got it. No pidas favores. Let's go back now and look at our verbs again. Pedir, servir, competir, seguir, conseguir, vestirse, despedirse, reírse, sonreírse, and rendirse. All E to I stem changing verbs. We know that E to I is going to happen in all the commands. We know that the only command that is regular vowel is the positive 2 familiar command. The negative familiar and the usted, ustedes commands are all opposite vowel. We know that if we add a pronoun to the end of a command, we go back almost in every instance, 3 vowels and put an accent mark. Now we have learned that the G, when it's followed by O, U, or A, is the hard G sound. Go, gu, ga. However, if you follow G with I or E, it's a soft G sound, he or he. In the verb conseguir, the G is used as a hard G. So therefore, in front of an E, we need to put the U in there to maintain it being hard when you do the consígueme or sígueme positive familiar commands. Usted, ustedes command, opposite vowel. Negative familiar command, opposite vowel. We know the ustedes command, you just add an N to the usted command. I think we're doing pretty well. I think each time we do commands, we're understanding the concept better and better. There are 4 commands. We're going to get to a 5th, the let's command, the we command. We'll get to that later. But the 4 commands, the positive 2 command is regular vowel, and all the other commands are opposite vowel. Even when we learn the we command or the let's command, when we have a total of 5 commands, when we get to that point, only the first one is regular vowel. The other 4 are opposite vowel. Again, what is the opposite vowel for AR verbs? It is E. What is the opposite vowel for ER and IR verbs? It is A. Okay, that'll do it. 112 in the books. Big check mark. Only one more with commands. Let's get this one out of the way and move down the road to 113. Gracias por escuchar. Hasta la próxima lección. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.